Howdy folks, welcome to another painting session. I'm Dan, joined again by Matty. Morning Matty, how you doing?
I'm well, Dan, how are you?
Good, thanks. Good, just flat out. And I'm hoping the amount going on both on this laptop and on the network in the house in general is not going to cause this to be a crappy experience. So, where we ended up last week was with a bunch of spearmen that had secret sauce supplied to them. So I finished them off. Go on, focus, I dare you. And because I was on such a roll, I went on and I did these Savage Orcs. Which are, I think, pretty cool. Savage Orcs of the Yellow Moon. So a couple more Demon World Orc units done, which is good. And today we're going to play with this guy. Yes. Go on, focus, I dare you. Huh. This is a 15mm miniature. They call him Murlac, or Mylac. No, it's definitely Murlac. So, get into it. What's going on up there, Matty?
I don't know. Let's ask Kle.
What's going on up there, Kle?
Raining, actually.
Our estates are in synchronousness. How many 100mm of rain have you had?
Well, I suppose Matty's probably had more than I have, actually. Brisbane's been getting smashed.
Parts of it, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had that much, but more than we would usually have at this time of year.
The last time we had any reasonable rain here was Thursday. No, that wasn't even very reasonable. Tuesday, where I'm at in Brisbane.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. We had a good shower yesterday. Maybe the one the day before as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing because when Kle says a good shower, that's flooding in Melbourne.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't see the local mountain, which isn't that far away from me. That's how heavy it was.
We're supposed to get somewhere between 8 and 15mm today, so just enough to wet your lawn, Kle.
Yeah.
The backyard's already a swamp. It doesn't help that it's a churned up muddy mess already.
Yours?
Yeah. Well, it's been a construction site for 3 weeks, so.
What you ought to do is dig up a table's worth and call it battlefield terrain.
Yeah, I'd do that. I could absolutely recreate the Somme with what's going on out there. Or possibly Ypres. It's not very nice. And I'm only going to make it worse tomorrow.
Is that when you're concreting?
No, it's preparing the ground for the outside pad.
Oh, yeah.
And putting in a new retaining wall.
Well.
This is the reason I'm a no-show tomorrow, Matty, is because I'm under time constraints to get this construction done before general contractor turns up to do shed floor.
Oh, well, that's fair enough. I hope you get it all done then.
So do I, because I don't want to have to do it 2 days in a row. Can everyone see what I'm doing? Just vision check.
Yeah, you're painting on the screen. The problem is that it's a bit choppy.
Yeah, that'll be the network conditions.
Shouldn't affect your recording for when you throw it up on YouTube.
How many of those have you watched?
2.
Right, and you clicked like on both of those?
One of them, I think. Hello,
Right.
Goat 2726 in Twitch chat. How are you?
That's it. We can see. I'm glad somebody can. You painting this morning, Kle?
I am actually. I'm up to beards.
Beards.
1, 2. Well, I got 13 beards to paint.
13 beards to paint.
Yeah, and that's pretty close to it.
4.
13 beards and for a unit of heavy clan veterans
Nice.
and some wizards and the mortar.
Right. How good is the beard on the mortar? Sorry, I had to ask.
Pretty good.
But he doesn't.
So,
Go on.
I have a question.
Okay. Go on.
Demon World Dwarven women, do they have beards too?
Maybe. Depends on where they're from.
It's the details like that you really got to get right.
Absolutely. What we really have to get right is what the fashion is for the beards for the dwarven women. Is it the same as the men?
Well, I'm sure they would plait theirs more.
I could imagine that there was a whole bunch of utility sort of things going on, because you imagine dwarven children would be relatively strong, and so grabbing beards as well as grabbing hair, now that'd be nasty. Oh, I've missed a whole chunk of this guy's chest. That is very annoying. Obviously I wasn't paying attention.
These guys have got more hair than ZZ Top.
Wow, but have they got more hair than the lead singer of Kansas?
Possibly not.
There's the homework for you guys. Go and watch the video for Wayward Son and tell me if that's not the hairiest person you've ever seen in your life. I decided it might have been Hagrid's American cousin.
Oh, yeah, just from the
The thumbnail.
That's pretty great.
That's exceptional. The 70s, brought to you by every hair product we could possibly think of. I'm just jealous, obviously. Having little to none left, and all that is left is growing in all the wrong places. It's just pure envy, people. I like how this guy's got a male shirt riveted to his leather jerkin, but it's obviously not one that was made for someone his size.
You've got a full day. Excellent.
It's a full male shirt, but hey, it could be an orc one. It's about the right size. How many of those wonderful packets of Demon World that you got this week, Matty, have you started?
None,
None.
to tell the truth, because I've got all my stands are full of Beastmen from the last big box of Demon World stuff I got.
Welcome to backlog territory.
Yeah.
I'm only laughing because I'm only about halfway through the orcs. And it's already an army of, what did I count? 170 painted figures at this point. There are many, many shades of wrong there.
It is a lovely shade of brown, though.
What I'm using now,
Yeah.
this is the Relpatha leather.
How are you enjoying their paints?
Oh yeah. These are good paints, exceptionally good paints. I was trying to describe to Ross a couple of weeks ago about why I like them, and they give me the same feeling as the army painter, but they're initially less viscous, so in the bottle they're a little bit thinner, and that means that you don't have to do quite so much thinning to get them going. So I imagine, from my completely warped perspective now, having painted so much stuff, but they'd be easier to use for a beginner, because a beginner would just be able to put them on and they'd get really good results.
Yeah.
You know, that whole, oh, you need to thin your paints type stuff doesn't apply. These don't really need thinning as they are coming out of the bottle.
They're just a good...
Yeah, they're a good consistency.
If you were comparing them to Vallejo and Vallejo Air, are they at the air level,
No.
or are they in between?
In between.
Yeah.
The air's too thin for brushing, really. Like, you have to use 3 or 4 layers.
Yeah.
And it's too thick for airbrushing, so go figure.
I know.
So I'm tremendously excited to get the rest of the range. It's not happening at the moment for various reasons. There have been illnesses in the RPE guys, both immediate and extended family. So I just need to be patient.
That's a huge beard. It covers his entire belly down to his buckle
Right.
and all the way across to his armpit.
Right.
That's a big beard
It is.
on a little guy.
Think about it.
6 more of that particular one to paint.
Have a think about how much product has to go into keeping that voluminous and in good
I
condition.
just painted it blonde as well.
Wow.
So it's a big white mane, a big yellow mane.
Well, it's a nice change from stereotypically Orban dwarves.
Yeah. All the
yeah.
dwarves with Scottish accents.
I have the orange paint out. I intended to do one beard orange, possibly on the wizard, but I've already done it. It's brown, so no orange beards today. But yeah, I was going to do a nod to that classic dwarf thing,
Trope.
but I missed the opportunity.
You can always strip. It's not that good a joke. It's not that worth that much effort.
No, I never only undercoat. I mean, they've only blocked out the colours. I'm not finished, but I'm not overpainting it.
This guy has all kinds of chain accessories, like holding stuff together. That's impressive. Most impressive. All right.
So the big question now that you've passed Freedom Day is when is the next game?
Well, I was talking to another mate yesterday, and we're in the very early throes of setting one of those up. But in fact, immediately after this live stream, Ross and I are going to do some playtesting for Interceptor. So theoretically, the first game is maybe an hour and 40 minutes away.
Well, nice one.
But it has nothing to do with passing Freedom Day, because it would have happened regardless, given where he is.
Yeah.
But the first face-to-face one probably in the next couple of weeks. I still have too much to do, though, with the workshop in the state that it's in and the yard in the state that it's in. I really need to focus on that to get it cleaned up, because young puppy and muddy backyard, and it's all just not very good.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing, honest. So you're painting today, Matty?
I'd like to. I probably will this evening. I have something else I need to do early today. Incidentally, that's why I'm not polishing boots this morning.
Oh. You need to make a quick getaway? Or you need to go and buy a new pair?
I need to go and pick up a new pair from the post office.
Right, they have arrived.
Yeah, and so I'll be spending 5 or 6 hours on those over the course of the afternoon.
Well, I can only hope that that is intensely therapeutic.
Yeah, me too.
What sort of boots?
Composite safety toe, waterproof, weatherproof, 9-inch risers, size 14. Black leather, shiny. Well, they're not shiny yet, but they will be by the time I'm done.
Nice.
It's the size 14 bit that gets me.
Yeah, I just assumed that was in one of those various country sizes I don't fully understand, but it's not really size 14 compared to, say, an average 10 or 11, is it?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think Matty has a distant familial connection to Hagrid somewhere.
My beard's not that good.
No, well,
it's getting there.
You aren't a long-lost relative of Robbie Coltrane, are you?
No, my most famous relative was Steve Irwin, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was a second or third cousin on my mother's side.
There you go.
Who? Steve Irwin?
Steve Irwin.
Oh, wicked.
Crikey.
Crikey. Such a shame he copped the bloody stingray to the heart.
That was a bad week, that one. I mean, who else do we lose?
Peter Brock.
Peter Brock and someone else as well, I forget. They always come in threes.
Yep. Steve Irwin got stingrayed. Peter Brock got treed.
Yeah.
I just my recollection of that is that it was I found out because one of the guys in the office emailed it round, and the other reason it stuck with me is because the title or the subject line of the email said, "Crikey, he's dead." It's almost a notification and an epitaph in one sentence. I'm assuming the familial relationship is not close enough for you to get discounts into Australia Zoo.
No. No, I've never met him and I've never been there either.
Yeah.
I've been there, it's alright.
It's alright.
It's alright. It's pretty expensive, but it's a pretty nice place. It's not the Melbourne Zoological Gardens or whatever you want to call it, but they've done a pretty good job for a bunch of Queenslanders.
What do you mean Queenslanders? It's been American run for nearly 20 years.
Well, yeah.
I ought to take that as fighting words, by the way.
One of the other guys I work with gets a bit sort of worked up about that too. He thinks I have a negative view of Queenslanders. Actually, I don't. I don't really have a negative view of anybody. Collectively, it's more I have a negative opinion of people individually.
Society mostly, yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, so it's that all or nothing thing. Person I've always had the biggest problem with was myself.
Yeah, but it's no fun beating yourself up.
Depends on what you use.
Fair enough. Let's leave that one there.
Moving right along. So, Games Workshop, Flagellants.
I was thinking about a date with Mrs. Palmer.
Ah.
While you're flogging things.
Yeah. Wow, we should move on because we'll end up with dead horses. And that's just wrong.
Oh dear.
And how is Clive?
I thought he was still stuck over in the West.
He is.
Fighting losing battles.
He is.
You know that you're unpopular when a state passes a bill of attainder against you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
Actually, I've been seeing his political ads in the paper again recently.
Yeah.
Is this his United Party or some rubbish?
Yeah. I'll give it to him. He doesn't know when to quit.
Yeah.
A stubborn fellow.
How long have you been up here, Kle?
4 or 5 years?
Is
So
it that
the
long?
tail end of old mate Campbell Newman, then,
Was
or
he
is
the
he
old?
before your time?
He might have been before my time. I think. Are you talking about Premier?
Yeah.
No, I think the current chick was still Premier when I moved up.
All right.
Anna, what's her name?
Lie. Talking about famous relations.
Bly.
Captain Bligh, the Bounty.
Yeah. And there's possibly a warning tale in there somewhere.
Well, we voted her in for some reason. Mind you, we voted in Kevin Rudd too.
Yeah.
Queensland politicians, eh?
How long was old Joe Premier?
20 years. Mind you, that's slander, sir. Joe was the greatest premier we've ever had. Just ask him.
Well, there's a case of fig jam if ever there was.
I fondly recall my high school economics teacher speaking extremely strongly on Joe's virtues.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, came up with his old chestnuts and his quotes and his construction cranes on the horizon are a sign of progress and all that. And
Right.
yeah, that was basically my 11th grade economics class. It was Joe-onomics.
Joe-onomics. Joe-onomics.
As opposed to Bidenomics, which is something else we should probably leave alone.
Oh, but the thought in my head was Reaganomics, because those two things wouldn't have been all that far removed in the world timeline.
Nope. Nor in reality.
Yeah.
Three beards left.
3 beards left.
Yeah,
That
I feel
should-
like I'm not doing the colour variants justice, but whatever.
If you want to play with it when you've got the beard colour on, just, I don't know, pick up a Seraphim Sepia or a Caribou Crimson or, you know, something like that, and just put another wash over them.
Yeah.
And that way, you know, you might have 3 that are painted the same colour paint, but the wash gives you a different highlight.
No black beards today.
No black beards.
Nah, these guys have got too much silver on them, and the black beard doesn't. The black and white beard doesn't look good on a model that's got lots of silver.
Now, my
How
brain...
about streaks of grey?
What's that?
Streaks of grey.
Yeah, well that's it. It just blends into the silver too much. It just feels like it's. Whereas the other guys have got, oh, maybe not. Oh, these are tough decisions, aren't they?
They are. Hey, Matty, you've got the internet at your fingertips. Was it Edward? Was it Edward Teach?
Blackbeard? Yeah. Yeah. Teach was Blackbeard.
There you go.
I didn't need the internet for that.
Oh. I did.
Neither did you.
Well, brain pops out random name associated with word Blackbeard.
Run a verification activity.
Yeah, that's right. It's like, I want to say this name, but am I wrong? Apparently not. I've got some 28mm pirate figures around here somewhere, as inspired by watching Black Sails. I'll get to them one year.
Oh God, you just reminded me of those ogre conquistadors that I saw once upon a time.
Ah, you got to
Damn
do
you.
that. You've got to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to now that I've remembered them, thanks to you. I was doing well at forgetting these awesome things that I want to buy and paint and don't have time or money
More
for.
money.
Yep.
Welcome to the modern hobbyist.
Thanks.
I'm trying to figure out how on earth I find the time to do the fit out on this workshop. Productivity will suffer.
Yeah, man. Sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, it will be. And itchy too, right? Putting that insulation in is going to be nasty.
Right. So it's not done by the builder. You're doing all of that.
Oh yeah, no, he's once the floor's done and the door's on, he's done. He walks away.
Right.
He's got other more important things to do. So yeah, I'm doing all the fit out. Primarily because I don't know what I want yet, and I haven't figured out how things are going to go yet. And like, I'm going to have to run exhaust trunking and all sorts of things because of laser cutters and 3D printers and spray booths, and I just don't know where it's all going to go. So I imagine I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time out there, standing in the middle of the floor, scratching my head, looking like a lost duck. And I also imagine I'm going to spend a great deal of time shuffling stuff around, backwards and forwards.
Because you've got a lot of stuff, or because
Yeah.
you work out where you put it?
No, because I've got a lot of stuff, and the objective is to get the cars in the garage, because there's a car on the driveway at the moment, so there'll be a balancing between how long the fit out takes and how long the cars stay on the driveway. I had good fun last night shifting the sheets of concrete reinforcement mesh from the driveway out the front to the lawn out the back.
Weren't they like 6 meters long?
Yeah, they're 6 meters long and they're 2200 wide,
Yeah, right.
which is good fun because the alfresco is only 2100 high clearance.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It's okay. I didn't bust too much. I think the exercise cost me 1 light globe. It's not too bad. I want a little bit of paint off the gutter. Which we have touch up for apparently.
Oh,
Yes. So I broke a light globe and the puppy broke a window. So I'm ahead.
puppy broke.
Yeah. She was running around with a deer antler because they've got deer antlers to chew on, because deer antlers are effectively indestructible. Yeah, she ran smack into the window with the point of the deer antler and broke the window.
Gosh.
Yep. So there's another $150 I don't have.
Buy a few less miniatures this month.
What is this heresy you speak? That doesn't come out of my budget. That comes out of the emergency budget. I pay every month. I pay an emergency budget amount for just such occurrences.
I thought you were going to say the miniatures budget was the emergency budget.
Ah, no.
Yeah.
Those things are very... One's emergency, the other's necessity. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
Yep. Good call.
How much do people pay on private healthcare? I regard everything that I spend on miniatures as my mental health well-being. So, therefore,
Private healthcare.
it's private healthcare.
Does that make it tax deductible, though?
I would like it to be thus. Apparently the government doesn't agree with me.
Just asking. I could use a
You could use a tax break.
I could use a bit of a refund.
Sure, if you sent it via the Caymans, it'd become a tax deduction.
Yes. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I reckon this brush is on its last legs too.
One that's definitely on its last legs. Well, on its last legs for 15mm anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. That isn't going to focus like ever, but you can see that lower down towards the ferrule, it's just starting to split.
Be feral, yep.
And be feral, yes. And it just doesn't want to form a point anymore.
And yet it's still in better condition than most of my brushes.
Brush abuse is a thing, Matty.
Yep.
Yes. So what is this one? It's 0. That's a 2-0. That's a 5-0. That's a 2-0. That's a 0.
Are you using the 0 to paint your... Is that what you had?
Yeah. See, this is the new one. See, at least is going to form a point. Because if you can't make a point... So I've switched over to the Vallejo Ivory. And the very first thing I need to do is put some water out. What brushes did you end up getting, Matty?
Christ, I don't know. The ones I use primarily are some Taiwanese brand that I picked up from Japan a little while ago.
Alright. And are they Taklon? Are they synthetic or are they a natural hair?
Yeah, they're synthetics. I don't have any natural brushes. What was the name of that company, the craft and art supply company in America that got famous for denying abortion on the company healthcare plan?
Oh,
That company has their own range of brushes, and they have some. I have some of theirs as well that were a gift from an old admirer. I'm not sure if those are synthetic or natural.
All right.
Because I haven't really used any of them. But the ones I mostly use are these Taiwanese synthetics, which are remarkably durable.
Are they the white Teflon or the gold Teflon?
Gold.
Gold. And if they all tip curled?
Only one.
Wow.
The others are, the worst of the others are splitting towards the ferrule.
Yeah, right. See, I've washed that one now, and it's come back to a really nice point. Gotta do shields.
Are they going to be Orc Shields or Empire Shields?
Looking at them, at the shape of them, I'd suggest that they're human-style shields. It's an awkward question, actually, Matty, because for all intents and purposes, the Empire has ceased to exist. So,
well, I don't know what's going on in your head and what's written on your paper.
Nobody knows what's going on in my head, least of all me. I might make that one yellow, just because I have to give something my partner to disapprove of. I did spend a bit of time this week working on background.
For the Demon World stuff?
Yeah, 4th edition.
Cool.
I discovered that of my 76 factions, I've missed 3 of them on the map, so there's an expansion opportunity in the future just to figure out where those 3 go. One of the conversations I had with Ross was about starting the process of socializing the change. So writing articles into the Demon World Facebook group about it.
Snippets of the stuff that you're doing now.
Yeah, just start socializing it. I love it. It does form a point, but there's just one hair that's too long.
That's always the way.
Do a little bit of brush surgery on camera.
It's just come up on the screen what you're doing.
Hmm.
I did that once with one of my cheap Chinese brushes from my post office hobby shop.
Yeah, pulled them all the hairs out.
No, they started coming out one after the other after that, though.
Yeah, right. The only thing I did there was just knock the tips off. That's much better. Well, it's a good looking shield now.
I know you're not a football guy, and especially not rugby league, but
Okay.
St. George.
He of the Dragon?
Yes, St. George Dragons, the red V, white
Right.
jersey with the red triangle from the neck down.
Right.
Are they
That's
named after a saint or a company?
After the place in Sydney.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So what was the
Not
place
a
in...
Queensland thing then.
No.
I just assumed it was a Queensland thing.
No, it's New South Wales Rugby League.
Ah, right.
Yeah, I know. Bloody Victorians.
Isn't I might be getting myself into deep trouble here. But isn't league rugby for dummies?
Yes.
Like, union is the more subtle game, more nuanced game.
Yeah, Union is a much more complex tactically and strategically sport than League is.
Right. League is front up and hit people.
League is basically American football without the armour.
Okay.
That sort of level of strategy. You just run up the middle and that's all you got.
Well, there's an awful
Whereas
lot.
in Union, you've got your kicks and you've got some tactical passing and the rolling maul, which is fantastic.
There is actually an awful lot of subtlety in American football.
Yeah, I know.
It's a very, very nuanced game, but
It's hard to pick out the half-hour game in the 4-hour VAT race.
oh yeah, well and truly over-commercialised. Speaking of doing surgery on camera,
I'd miss a bit of something.
yeah, just a little bit of flash on the shield.
I hate it when you've been through the whole model, you think everything's fine, you undercoat it and you think everything's fine, and then you get all the way to that stage and you're like, how did I miss this? I even undercoated the damn thing.
Yeah, yeah. That was absolutely a case in point right there. It's like, I thought that was part of the shield. No, that was a piece of flashing. I'm hoping to do a white design on that, so we'll see. And I know you're not supposed to touch the miniature with your fingers, but there you go.
I spent the best part of painting 20 years holding and touching the miniature. There's nothing wrong with that.
No golden demon here. It's more of a slime demon.
I'm gonna go and make another coffee.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Cool, man. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, dude. Talk to you Monday.
Yeah, talk to you Monday. Nice to talk to you again, Matty.
Yeah, likewise. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rain.
Yes, it's dark out there at the moment, actually. Cool, man. Have a good one.
See you, Cle.
Yep. So, I was prepared. I've got a thermos of coffee sitting on my desk.
Oh. Now we're getting serious.
Coffee's serious business.
Yeah, it's funny. I just never liked it.
Yeah, you'll like my sister.
I don't know what's about it. Like my early sort of working life, there was people that they were real coffee snobs, and you know, oh, you got to try this and you got to try that, and none of it ever did anything for me. I suppose it didn't help that my parents used International Roast at home.
Even International Roast has its place.
Yep.
I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been Pablo. My grandfather collected old Pablo cans for some reason. I have no idea why.
It's funny what appeals, isn't it?
Yes. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there thinking we're strange for our little tin soldiers.
Oh yeah. Yep. Much eye rolling was done while the Sparky was here wiring the workshop, because he's looking in the window, looking at all this stuff going, what the hell is that?
You sure he wasn't casing you for a robbery?
Well,
How's your security system?
maybe.
Mind you, it's Sparky, he's probably bypassed him.
Well, good luck, because our security system is a 9.5-year-old elderly Labrador. And the way to bypass him is just give him a treat.
Well, now you've told the world.
I have. He actually, if he doesn't know you, he actually does fire up, and 35 kilo black lab fired up, even elderly black lab fired up, it's actually fairly intimidating.
Yeah, for sure.
He actually did have a go at Puppy the other day. She was annoying him, because that's what she does, and he grabbed her and shook her. It's like, wow, didn't think he had that much aggression in him, but he did. Needless to say, they got separated for a period of time. It took her to cool off and him to cool off, and could have been quite nasty.
Yeah. Well, hopefully she learns from it.
You know how there are some animals that are super bright that are also quite stupid?
You mean like humans?
Some of them.
True, not all of them are quite bright.
Quite bright. She's highly intelligent, but dear God, she's stupid. Like, she gets sit and drop, and I think she's even at the point where she's getting stay. And yet, she does some really dumb stuff. Oh, this is not going well.
Maybe I should ask what's not going well, because
You can't see?
the Twitch has been a bit
Flaky.
dodgy.
Yeah. All the network activity should have ceased by now, though, so that's a bit disappointing.
Dare I ask what you've been downloading?
Well, it wasn't so much downloading, it's just that I procured for myself a reasonable laptop yesterday. Slightly better than the one I'm using at the moment. From the perspective, it has 4 times as much RAM. And I've been setting it up. And what was happening this morning was I was doing a network copy of a bunch of files off this laptop onto that one. So it was obviously consuming as much network bandwidth as it could get a hold of. At the same time as I was installing antivirus and downloading something else. What was the other thing I was downloading? I can't remember. But, setting up new PCs always takes a lot longer than you want it to.
That's definitely true. Well, do make sure to tune into the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And see everything in actuality instead of just Twitch loading.
Yeah. I reckon I might put a decal on that yellow shield. What do you think?
Couldn't hurt.
Well, it could.
Depends on what you put on. I mean, if you put on a yellow one, that might be silly.
Yes. Have a look and see what fits. I like the idea. I don't know if you can see these. I like the idea of the red ones at the top.
No, Twitch is having a hissy fit.
Oh, really? That's really frustrating. Discord's choppy too, so I wonder what's going on.
I don't know.
The processor light on the laptop's blinking red and yellow, so maybe it's just resource constraint on that machine. It should improve next week, hopefully. Maybe.
Well, you're going to want to sort all this out for Ross, aren't you?
Yeah, that'll be next.
Just 5 seconds on the power button on that new laptop of yours, and that'll take care of your problems.
So I don't know what emblem this is. For the sake of description, I'll just call it red chicken with black claws.
No, I'm hungry. I can see cockfighting being a fairly common sport amongst the orcs.
Yes. Not sure if I should take that and run with it, or whether I should just move on.
Well, something about eating the loser.
Yes. That's what chimpanzees do.
think I wanted to know, though.
That's what they do. They quite literally tear their opposition apart.
I've never read any of Jane Goodall's stuff. I don't know if she covers it. I think I was better off pretending that chimps were wonderful, lovely, safe, happy creatures.
Yeah, not so much.
We really did evolve out of them, didn't we?
We certainly did. So now we're going to have to do a bit of blending on that. Because I don't have a proper decal printer. So of the new stuff, what are you going to paint first?
Oh, Ice Furies, for sure.
Nice.
I mean, that's why I got 4 units of them.
Oh, wow.
Typically, in my orders, I've just bought one of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's, a cavalry where you don't get enough for a unit in a single packet, so...
Right.
But, yeah, four units of Ice Witch Furies.
I'm looking
Actually,
into those.
About that, I need to talk to you about some
Bases?
bases, yeah. At some point in the future, I've got a rough idea of what I need.
Cool. Just let me know, because then I can just crank the printer up and let it run.
One of them might need some design work on your part.
Oh, excellent.
There's a snow cannon
Oh,
in that lot.
okay.
I don't know if you've got one of those.
I have. So
Good.
let me dig that out and have a look. How many crews it got?
3.
Okay. Well, I may already have a base that is suitable. The crew on the standard round base?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Or pad, really. This thing's just gone nuts. I said it was forming a point and it was very good, and it's just decided it's now going to have a bad hair day.
Bad hair day. That's very witty.
It's apt when you describe a paintbrush, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's why I said it was very witty. Not everything I say is utter sarcasm.
Not everything.
Just most of it. Well, I hope Kle gets all this rain. That looks like it's coming out, though. It's a literal mile to the nearest post office where they have my boots.
Well,
I'm not fit and healthy like you are, Dan.
I was just going to say a mile in Queensland rain. That doesn't fill me with any sense of joy. You'd want to have a damn good umbrella, I think.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I put a hole in my umbrella the last time I took it out.
They don't work so well with holes in them. I'm sure I don't need to point that out. This guy needs a pedicure.
Has he been biting his nails like the rest of us?
Biting his toenails.
Yeah.
Do you bite your toenails?
Let's leave that one alone.
The correct response to that question was no, I pay someone.
I wouldn't subject that to anyone. Not for money,
No.
nor love.
No, especially not the latter. There we go. So we've now got shields. I need to have another go at that because that's pretty ordinary, but he's at the point where secret sauce is required. Question is, how much secret sauce?
Good question. I've not painted anything quite that big yet.
I think he might be a 3-drop individual. Oh, the other fun that I've got that I didn't mention is that there's another 2 cubic meters of crushed rock sitting in the driveway that I need to shift.
Ah, well, that'll be good for your shoulders.
That'll probably, by the time I've shifted all of that, that'll mean that this particular process will have been 10 cubic meters of stuff, dirt, crushed rock, whatever.
Real life basing materials.
Real life basing materials. It just...
This 1-to-1 scale shit is pretty nasty.
Yeah. Righto. We'll source him. He doesn't look like much at the moment, to be honest. It's all very boring at this point. The next bit will give him some depth and some character and some...
So make sure you join the Demon World group so you can see what the effects of the secret sauce is.
Yeah. And it's not secret sauce either, by the way.
Well, that's just mayonnaise that's been left out in the sun.
Yep.
Or is it 1,000 Island dressing? I always get those two mixed up.
Why is it called 1,000 Island dressing?
I have no idea.
So,
The internet will provide, I'm sure.
it will. 3 drops of strong tone from the Army Painter. Mixed 50-50 with the Quick Shade Wash Mixing Medium, also from Army Painter. And then 2 drops of Vallejo Airbrush Flow Improver. Secret sauce.
According to the Oxford Companion to American Food and Drink,
Mhm.
Thousand Island dressing's name comes from the Thousand Islands region, located along the upper St. Lawrence River between the United States and Canada.
There you go.
Within that region, one common version of the dressing's origin says that a fishing guide's wife, Sophia Lalonde, made the condiment as part of her husband George's shore dinner.
Right.
Thanks, Wikipedia.
Are there 1,000 islands? Curious minds would like to know.
Find out in a second. 1,864 islands.
Goodness me.
They straddled the US-Canada border in the St. Lawrence River as it emerges from the northeast corner of Lake Ontario. Stretches for 50 miles downstream from Kingston, Ontario.
Right.
The Canadian islands are in the province of Ontario and the US islands are in the state of New York. They range in size from over 40 square miles to smaller islands occupied by single residents or uninhabited outcroppings of rocks. To count as one of 1,000 islands, emergent land within the river channel must have at least 1 square foot of land above water level all year round and support at least 2 living trees.
How do you get 2 living trees on 1 square foot?
Doesn't say how big the trees have to be.
Yeah, I guess. Good point. Very good point. So, 1,000 island dressing is underselling it. It's 1,800 island dressing.
Oh, don't worry, global warming will take care of the problem soon enough.
300 island dressing. Oh, that's wrong. I'm sorry. I apologise.
It's bloody clever, though. As far as I'm concerned, the only people who need to apologise for being too clever are students in school.
Right.
Can't have them showing up with teachers. It's bad for morale, that's why they all quit.
Yes.
I saw something in the paper the other day saying that Queensland is going to have a shortfall of 50,000 teachers in the next 3 years. I'm like...
50,000?
It's incredible. I just don't understand how they come up with these numbers. It must be because they're reducing class sizes.
Yeah.
When I was in primary school, the average class size was 33.
Right.
In my final year of high school, it was 30. Final year of primary school, the average class size was 37. But that's because all of the boys in the school, bar 7, left to go to the various private junior colleges in the area. Yeah, and in high school, the average class size was 31.
And they're big classes. They are very, very big classes.
Yeah, true. I imagine they're now trying to get a student-to-teacher ratio of like 12-1.
I don't know.
They'd have to be if they're going to have a 50,000 shortfall.
Yeah.
Just in this state alone, and we don't have that many kids. We're not that big.
What is the population of Queensland?
5 and something million, I think. We just had a census. They haven't come out with the new number.
No. So, he's a bit shiny at this point in time because he's wet,
But that'll dry up beautifully.
the secret sauce just adds so much depth.
It really does.
It is the army painter process, but rather than using the dip and flick, which, oh, shudder. I don't know. I've seen
I've
videos.
seen that in video, and I don't want to try it.
Oh no! And it's a varnish, right? It's a mineral-based varnish, and so the first thing you have to do after you've done that is once it's dry, so a week or a fortnight or whatever, you've then got to put an anti-shine on it. Whereas if you do it with the acrylic ones, like these, they're already matte. So
Yeah, it's good stuff.
it is. I go through a lot of it.
I always mix it up in the same drop bottle that I've been using for a while. It's an old beard oil bottle
Yeah.
that I was never quite able to get that last lingering bit of fragrance out.
Right.
Oh, so it all smells like juniper and lime.
They need an award for the best smelling army.
These beastmen, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, why can't they be cultured?
Not all of them got shit stains running down their legs.
Not all of them.
Yes, some of them do get dags.
It's a problem. But as
They're
they
especially noticeable on the polar bear cavalry.
as they get older, that becomes less of a problem because the hair falls out.
Some of the ones that I'm currently working on have got nappies on for some reason. Yeah, just doesn't really bear thinking about.
They're the incontinent cavalry as opposed to the foreign cavalry.
So many of them just going around freeballing it though.
Well, that is the very definition of freedom, isn't it?
Yeah. I just don't... Actually, now you're going to have to write about it. 4th edition Beastman Biology.
Absolutely. I'm going to have to write about it. I might subcontract to a very tall, phlegmatic Queenslander that I know.
How tall's Kle?
He's about the same height as I am. As a matter of fact. Oh no. He doesn't realise it yet, but he's going to be writing about dwarves.
Well, of course.
I do have another parcel in the mail.
Well, that's good. What are you expecting?
50 battle mechs.
Oh, it's finally happened.
It has.
Or are these the ones from the Kickstarter?
No. Well, I have no idea where they are.
Still in fucking China, I bet you.
No. They're in New South Wales.
I get the feeling that's just a lie told to fob you off.
Possibly. And
They probably don't actually have them.
It may well be that one of the logistical problems was that they got the wrong boxes. Like the boxes, there's different box art from those that got the Kickstarter than the retail. The Kickstarter boxes are different. And they did notice a month or so ago that some of the guys that were getting the boxes in the Kickstarter were getting the retail box covers. So they did a reassessment and a stop and a reorder and all that kind of stuff. So it may well be that the distribution partner in Australia had the wrong boxes.
I'm sure Ross would never let something like that happen with one of his Kickstarters.
Morning, Ross.
Good morning to you. Good afternoon to me.
How does that finish? And good evening, good night? Did you ever watch the Two Ronnies, Ross?
I've seen the Two Ronnies, yes.
Yes. And it's good night from me, and it's good night from him.
I think I had to watch the Two Ronnies before I could watch Monty Python. That's the way it went.
Right.
Doctor Who, the Two Ronnies, then Monty Python.
Okay. We always got the Two Ronnies later in the evening. That was sort of a later evening thing, whereas Doctor Who was always just before dinner.
I think this was 10 o'clock Chicago time, evening, Sunday night, after Masterpiece Theater.
Right.
PBS would show other fare, shall we say.
Mm-hmm. And how did all of your Saturday commitments go?
As well as can be expected.
Oh no.
No, it's as we all know, it's just never ending. Do what you can, and the rest is left for another day. The next day, and the next day.
And the next day. How is Vasgothia going at the moment?
Where the pledge curve has turned the corner to the plateau, the middle 3-week plateau. We're at about plus or minus 26,000.
Okay.
If people have bought in or re-upped, or we've had 1 or 2 canceled pledges also.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just a natural part of the Kickstarter process, isn't it?
Yep. I guess the next big event will be Kyle's next update, which will explain further what the 30,000 stretch goal is.
Right. And when's he due to put that out?
I think it's supposed to happen before Tuesday's team meeting.
Okay.
And then there'll be another update because Don will be working on the Champions Challenge cover on his Wednesday painting session.
Okay. Cool.
So cool things to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. And very pleasing to see a Kickstarter going well.
Yes, indeed.
Even if it's vicariously.
That's right. We have, those of us who've been with the company for more than a year have had many of these experiences. You, who've been for less than a year, have only had one.
That didn't go so well.
Correct. But live and learn, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. You learn from your mistakes.
Well, I don't call it a mistake. I call it a...
Well, I made plenty, but the overall process wasn't, but there were plenty made along the way.
But, yeah, no news since we last talked on that front, so hurry up and wait yet again.
Yep. It is like being in the military, isn't it?
You know, there are certain things that are completely 100% outside of your control.
Yep.
Nothing you can do about them. And those of us who still have hair, try not to pull it out as we wait
Yep.
impatiently for a result.
I do not count myself amongst that number any longer. Because
So,
the hair that I do have is not in places I would like it to be. So, you're going to ask something?
no, just are you a shave the top all around, or just let the fringe grow where it grows? But your comment sort of implies an answer there.
I shave it all off. I should be shaving it once a week, but I'm lazy, so it gets done probably once a month. So I look like a monk for 3 weeks out of the month. And it is a detractive. Fortunately, my partner can see past that. So, what's on your painting desk, Ross?
Hey, I found some dice today. How about that?
You got some dice.
But they're all 12-siders. I don't know how I have a bag that is filled with 6-siders and 12-siders. I just don't remember what that could possibly have been about.
So, what are you going to roll a d12 and just ignore 11s and 12s?
You got it.
Oh, goodness me.
I know I have a bag of D10s out in the workshop, but that's an expedition in itself. So.
Oh, really? The rains have set in.
The rains have set in. We've had latest spell. We're about 2 days into steady rains, pretty much all day long. So, yep, fall is here. This rain, maybe this one will take down all of the leaves that have turned, but if this one doesn't, certainly the next one will.
Right. I was going. It has been.
It has been interesting seeing the cedars shed. Even though they're evergreens, they do lose part of their foliage each season.
Yeah. I was going to be incredibly facetious and suggest I know this company that is able to supply D10s.
Yeah, but if I know I've got a bag of them, I'm not going to go and buy some.
Really?
I'm not like Andy. I don't need 50,000 dice in my house.
What is this need thing you speak about?
I don't have that itch where dice are concerned.
No, I don't either, but I did make sure that I think I had 20 of each type for the play testing. Like, I think 20 of white on black and 20 of black on white.
I'm waiting for the custom dice.
Right.
I'll get several sets of those when those come.
Righto. I don't know. I'm at an interesting point in my life, I think, because I've never done this before, but I went shopping for box cutter blades yesterday, the day before, because I put the last box cutter blade in my metal box cutting knife. No, it's one of the 9mm ones, not one of the 18mm ones, so it's just a little one. And I went, oh, I should be able to get box cutting blades relatively cheap. And I went looking at them and went, yes, but they're a lot cheaper if you buy them in bulk.
Like the 50 pack or the 100 pack?
Well, no, I got the 200 pack. So it's like, how long's that going to last me? Well, the rest of my life, probably. But you know what I mean? It's just like, normally I would have just gone, oh, I'll just get 10. But it's like, well, 200.
Well, if you're going to be trimming 3mm ply
Oh,
the rest of your life.
I'm not using box cutters for that. I use box cutters for cutting up the boxes that all of the other crap that I buy comes in.
My problem is I keep losing my utility knives, the handles.
Yep.
I've got a really nice one somewhere. And I make do with the not so nice ones in the meantime.
Yep. That's the next problem, because once the fit out of the workshop goes in and I relocate everything into the workshop and it all goes into its place, now I have to remember a new place for where everything else is. So where did I put that again?
You should have seen my wife when she reorganized her sewing area.
Oh, yeah.
Space. And, it's 2 or 3 weeks since then now, and she still can't find anything.
Can't find anything. It's like, you know, this whole labeling cabinets. I reckon that's probably going to have to become a thing.
I had this grand scheme of inventorying all of the boxes in storage with what they had on, have a nice database with the list of what's in each given box.
Yeah.
Be able to find anything.
Mm-hmm.
Touch of a button, one query.
Mm-hmm.
Never going to happen.
You'll probably need to employ somebody to do that.
If you'd like to sponsor my entry into the United States, that's pretty much my profession.
Well, sponsoring is easy. I mean, if you're going to arrive anyway. I know Josh is willing to sleep on the floor out there just to browse. It helps to have somebody who actually might recognize some of the stuff that's there without coveting it too much.
So that'd have to be it.
So that's me out then, isn't it?
Well, too much. I mean, you've got to balance it.
You have to check the trunk of his car.
Well, but he's coming over, so he's suitcase limited. So.
Oh, right, okay. So, one for me, one for the suitcase. One for me, one for the suitcase.
Now, there is some stuff I want to really find just to be able to show it, at FredoniaCon in February, and perhaps put up for a...
See, your problem if I did that particular job, Ross, was that I'd get to the Renegade Legion patches and then stop. So I found what I was looking for.
Oh, you think you would be able to stop?
Oh, no.
You know you wouldn't.
No way. No chance.
Because the last time I went through, I actually found my rough pen and pencil drawings for the first set of deck plans that I did.
Right. Yeah, right. So you've quite literally never thrown anything out.
You know, if it feels important, then my bar there is probably very low, lower than most. I'll hang on to it if I possibly can.
Yeah, right.
The one thing I haven't been able to find, though, and I know I did it because I drew it, is the original logo of FESA. Got that on a piece of paper somewhere.
Right. Are we talking the alien head here?
Well, the teardrop with the swords, cross swords. And
Yeah. Once you've seen it as an alien head, you can't unsee that.
No, I see it. Remember, it started out as just the swords and the circle as the logo of our traveler mercantile enterprise.
Right. So it was actually an in-game thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Phoenix Enterprises Limited lives on.
Was well named.
We had checking accounts under that name at one point.
You do what you've got to do. That sounds like Mort had to do quite a bit.
Well, remember, Mort didn't come on until like about 85 or so.
Yeah, right.
He was always a sounding board.
But he had his own business to run up to that point.
Yep.
What did he do with that? Did he sell it?
Mort had his fingers in several pies. One was Swallow Press, which was a high-end literary imprint. But the other was he was director of, I believe it was the Chicago Architectural Foundation.
Right.
which is a non-profit, extolling the virtues of architecture of all flavors in Chicago. As we were growing and needed some more guidance, he was getting tired of raising money for others, and came on board.
Oh. And brought Donna with him.
Yep, absolutely. Donna was his senior editor for Swallow Press. And he sort of made a deal with Ohio University they sort of absorbed his imprint. And he received a nice stream of income from that for a long time.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he promptly sank that into VWE.
No. We were perfectly willing to use FASA's cash flow for VWE.
Yeah.
None of us really had the magnitude of personal income or wealth at that point to help out in that fashion show. So
No.
we just put in the sweat.
You would have all been on the edge or starting families and those sorts of things, wouldn't you?
Yep, absolutely. I think all of our kids were born in the 90s. Mine towards the end, Jordan's towards the first beginning.
Right. So my eldest was 95.
As was mine.
There you go. And when was the last?
99.
Okay, because mine was 2003. So there was a gap.
Give them their best shots at living in three different centuries. How about that?
Yeah. What have you got, Ross?
2 girls.
2 girls. Okay. I got 2 girls and a boy. So the 2 girls were 95, 97, and the boy was 2003.
Really was basically able to turn one of them. I wasn't able to turn my oldest.
What's her hobby?
She's I would say her hobby at the moment is just enjoying the great outdoors.
Right.
Lots of hiking and camping and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We were able to get them to both embrace reading, and whenever they wanted a book, it was acquired.
Mm-hmm.
But my youngest, while doing electronic gaming, but is interested in science fiction and fantasy, and will watch any movie and that sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
as well as, I guess, pretty heavy into anime and manga at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where her few extra dollars seems to end up being spent on. But Jordan and my grand plan to have kids and raise them to be editors and writers in our own company, that failed magnificently.
Right.
So I guess Jordan's 3 sons, at least 2 of them are heavy duty into gaming in their own name.
Yeah, right.
So,
They have a name with a cachet, so.
well, the more important thing is that they perhaps, and I didn't say this, might have a trust fund that help them out a little bit.
Take every advantage you can get.
Absolutely. That's
which was?
He had new product releases every time he got a quarterly distribution from his inheritance.
Oh, okay. But, and in case anybody is listening to this or watching this is in any doubt, you guys worked hell hard before you got that payout. It wasn't easy street at all. What was that? There was a 20-year overnight success. That's about what it was, wasn't it? Sort of, you started 77-ish, and the money turned up 97-ish.
Well, we honestly, the first product was sold at the end of 1980.
Right, okay. But you would have been working on it before that.
Yeah, but when Jordan and I first met, that would have been 79.
Yeah, righto.
Once I got out of school, June of 80, and we started playing games and, writing down other things all the things that we wanted to do. But as I think you said before, the original products came out of our Traveler campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like being fortunate enough to be able to live at home and not take a paycheck for the first several years until there was enough cash flow around to actually accomplish that.
How did your parents feel about that?
Well, we were both lucky in that they encouraged us and didn't make any demands on us to
right.
Go out and make a living.
Could they see that you were going to go somewhere with it, or was there concern?
Good question. There was cash flow. There was real product being created.
Yeah.
Going to conventions where the product was sold. Did they understand role-playing gaming and adventure gaming at that point?
No. Why are people buying this stuff? Probably is the question.
Time passes, one thing led to another. Everything kept going better than the month before.
Mm.
So, no, I don't think, I certainly didn't feel any pressure. I don't know that Jordan did either. And, by 1985 with Battletech, it was off to the races at that point.
Yeah.
And, when George's dad comes and joins the company, that's a, it's all over but a shout.
It's a fair sign that there's a bit of confidence. Yeah. How did your folks react to the fact that Mort came on board?
I think my dad at one point in one conversation asked, why didn't you ask me?
Oh, right. Okay.
And it's you're successful, you're doing what you want to do, more power to you.
Absolutely.
And as those of us fortunate enough to choose a career path where you get to be your own boss for the most part, even better.
I don't think I've ever been mature enough.
Nobody should ever sell themselves short.
No, just You know the 2020 and the 2021 Dan. You don't know the 1990 Dan. So,
That's true.
so
Yeah, but that, you just keep falling back on the trope of we made games that we wanted to make,
yeah,
that we wanted to play, and hopefully everybody else would too.
yeah. Sorry, my upbringing was you need to get an education, then you need to get a good job. There wasn't any sort of allowance for any sort of entrepreneurial, even inklings. Yeah, my father was a very, let's say, conservative individual, and he liked things in a world order that he understood. So none of that would have been encouraged or even discussed. Like, you do career discussions with your parents. He would have been... I imagine the conversations where I don't have any clear recollection of them, but they would have been something along the lines of, you need to be an engineer, basically.
And his embrace of new technologies.
Oh, he was the reason why I ended up as a software engineer, because in 1983 he bought a home computer. So we would have been the only people in the suburb with a home computer at that point in time. So from that perspective, yeah, I absolutely owe my entire career to his fascination with new technology. He was a very smart man, but he was an uneducated smart man. And you could aim that bone at me, actually, because I never completed college. So it's funny. It's a funny story because I was at university doing computer science, and when I say I wasn't mature enough, I wasn't. I didn't knuckle down. I didn't do the work. I didn't feel compelled to do the work. The subjects were boring. They weren't engaging me, and so I goofed off, which plenty of people do in their first year of university. But at the same time, I got myself a part-time job running a military specialist bookshop on weekends, and so I had an income, and so all of a sudden the imperative of college didn't hold anymore, and I changed streams the next year, did relatively well, changed streams again the third year and did abysmally. But by then I was starting to manage the bookshop. Like the manager had left and they'd given me the responsibility of managing it. But it also sold computer games which were based around military interest, and I had a couple of regular customers, and one of those, he was a computer programmer. He used to come in and buy PC games because his hobby was porting them to the Amiga, and he would get paid money for that. So he would go and do a port, and the publishers would pay him if they published it on the Amiga. But, we'd had plenty of conversations about computers and games and programming and everything like that. And he came in one Friday night with his beautiful wife, and he gave me a funny sideline look and said, "Do you want a job?" So I went to work for them as a junior programmer. And, yeah.
Well, congratulations, I guess.
Well, I don't know. But I have a lot more time for people that actually go and do stuff. They just try it and make it work. I've always struggled with company. You go and interview at a company and they say, "You haven't got a degree." I go, "That's right, I don't." And they go, "Goodbye." I'm like, okay, I wasn't going to enjoy working for you anyway.
the 90s when we, aside from our core group that you saw in the BWE video, by the time FASA Interactive was up and running, and I think FASA Interactive at its height probably employed 100 folks, 3 or 4 different programming teams. Came from wide variety of backgrounds. And, while I had, after I got out of school, one of the first things I did was go out and buy, I had a Apple IIe. And as you might imagine, I still have it somewhere.
Unlike Jordan, who blew his up.
It was great fun to run the IBM Selectrix typewriter from Apple. It was,
Yeah.
from a serial connection.
Yeah.
It saved us having to get a typesetter for a couple of years. I dabbled, both of us knew BASIC at that point. I guess the next great thing to learn was Pascal, but we were making tabletop stuff. We didn't have to, we knew how computers worked, but we didn't have to become crack programmers. We knew just enough to be dangerous. The running joke is, sure, it'll do that, and then we would run back and try and figure out how in the world are we going to get it to do that.
Yeah. Yep.
And discrepancies in tabletop gaming is just an explanation of way of becoming a feature. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I was listening to them talking about, we'd write code all night and try the feature out the next day, and it's just like, you guys are looking back on that fondly, but let me tell you, at the time there would have been a lot of grousing going on, because that's the nature of it. It's like,
But you have to follow along the corollary there. Okay, they would work all night. They would send the new build to the Battletech Center.
yeah,
And then people would pay us to test it.
yeah, yep, yep. And you would probably, the most important thing is you would probably get really good feedback. If it didn't quite work, you would get the feedback that it didn't quite work. If it was excellent, you would get that real endorphin rush from knowing that loads of people were enjoying what you'd just done for them. And as a young engineer, that's addictive.
The only downside was because we had to do the work to keep everything going. We were no longer the best at the game anymore.
No.
Once the center opened.
No.
And it was a moment of great pride, I guess, when I believe our Red Planet team, beat the center team in a tournament.
Yeah, right. Because the centre team would have had significantly more practice in.
Yep.
Yeah. That was some of the other things that I learnt watching that video, is that I had in my head a picture of it just being Battletech, but Battletech was only the start.
Yeah, no, and hats off to our Dyflex, our Japanese partner. Part of their deal with us was you have to have a second title.
Yeah.
That forced us to come up with something that we could do relatively easy, and we went for something that a driving game can't beat, can't lose with that.
Yeah.
So
And that's where.
how can we set it? How can we work it in?
Yeah. And that's what Red Planet ended up being.
Yep.
Yeah. I did enjoy the horn story. I'm sorry, I thought that was very funny. Oh, Ross and Jordan aren't going to go for this. Oh, we'll put it in anyway. What's that beeping noise?
If you become a software producer,
Right.
you realize that you are in a constant battle between the game everybody agreed to create and the one that you're supposed to produce,
Yeah.
and then everything that the programmers do from that point on.
Yeah.
It's going to go counter to that.
You aren't telling me anything. 29-year career of that. The first half of which I was on one side of the fence, the second half of which I've been on the other side. Like, what did one of the programmers say to me a few years ago? He said, "Man, you're old." Because he was trying to push this tech. He was like, "We should use this tech," and I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because it's cool." It's like, yes, but what benefits is it going to give me? It doesn't need to. It's cool. Oh God.
Yeah, that's right. So we have to. You were proposing changing the whole architecture of the product just to have a cool piece of tech.
Yeah, and by the way, this cool piece of tech isn't going to be cool tomorrow because somebody else will come up with something, and we're going to do the same thing again. And he looks at me and blinks. Yeah. Let me sit you down, son, and talk to you about some commercial realities.
Well, here's the line. You're on this side. I'm on the
Yes,
other.
yeah. I'm actually fighting a very similar battle at the moment. We've picked a piece of tech and it's not functioning. And they're like, "Oh, we should just change it." And I'm like, "You can't. There is a commercial reality. We have a commercial agreement with these people. You can't." And they're like chomping at the bit. And I'm like, "Well, we can apply some commercial pressure to them, which we have. Let's see what happens." And they're like, "But need to fix it now." I'm like, "No, you don't."
Right, it's on them.
It's on them. We paid them money. Now they need to step up to the plate and justify why we paid them the money.
And that's where you have to sit back and wait and try and get something that you have absolutely no control over to happen the way you want it.
Yeah, that's right. This is why I go to the people in the organisation who have more leverage on that particular lever. It's like, "I've pulled this lever, the bell rang, it didn't ring very loudly. Can you please pull this lever so the bell rings a little more loudly?" And away they go. Yeah, we'll have to wait a couple of weeks probably, but at the end of the day, a couple of weeks in a 2-year program isn't going to end anything. Good fun.
Do we dare apply that statement to Interceptor?
You're the only person that should be pulling that lever, I believe, firmly.
Well, unfortunately, none of us, not the audience here, isn't the one who needs to hear it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's right. I feel for him, Ross. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Well, nearing the top of the hour, the next step is to see if we can break his game.
Absolutely. It is the top of the hour. Thank you for reminding me. Matty, you should join in.
Unfortunately, I have a very limited window to get to the post office.
Right. Well, the objective of today was this bloke. And I think he looks pretty good to this point. So we'll do some touch-ups, some highlighting, some basing. And, yeah, come along to the Demon World group on Facebook and you'll see the finished photos. Actually, I'll probably show him off in next week's live stream anyway. But thanks for joining. Thanks, Matty. Thanks, Ross.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
And see you guys next time.